Thank you for visiting the Miltenberger Law Offices YouTube channel and our website. We are a proven criminal defense law firm in Nebraska with over 1,000 cases handled and over 12 years of combined legal experience. Our firm has created these audio articles to help educate you on your rights, protect your freedom, and help you achieve the best solution for the charges you are facing. If we are hired for your case, we will never back down, no matter the odds. Drug possession lawyer in Omaha, Nebraska. Drug possession charges in Omaha can create problems fast. Maybe the case started with a traffic stop. Maybe the police searched your car, home, backpack, purse, or phone. Maybe you were simply near something that belonged to someone else, and now prosecutors are treating the situation like the facts are already settled. They are not. At Miltenberger Law Offices, we defend individuals facing drug possession charges in Omaha, Douglas County, and throughout Nebraska. Whether the allegations involve marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, fentanyl, heroin, prescription medication, or another controlled substance, we help clients in Omaha protect their rights, challenge the government's evidence, and pursue the best possible outcome. If you've been arrested, charged, or believe you are under investigation for drug possession in Omaha, call 402-217-2267 or contact Miltenberger Law online for a confidential consultation with an experienced Omaha drug possession defense attorney. Because being near drugs is not always the same thing as possessing them, prosecutors sometimes forget that part. We do not. How Nebraska defines drug possession. Under Nebraska law, it is generally unlawful to knowingly or intentionally possess a controlled substance unless legally authorized. Nebraska's main drug offense statute is Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 28-416, while controlled substances are categorized under Nebraska's Uniform Controlled Substances Act, Nebraska Revised Statutes, Section 28-405. In plain English, prosecutors generally must prove that the substance was illegal or unlawfully possessed. You knew the substance was present. You had control over it, or the ability to control it. The evidence was obtained legally. That last point matters more than many people realize. Drug possession cases are not just about what police claim they found. They are also about where it was found, how it was found, who had access to it, whether you knew about it, and whether officers followed the Constitution while gathering evidence. Common drug possession charges in Omaha. Miltenberger Law represents clients facing possession allegations involving a wide range of controlled substances in Omaha and across Nebraska. Marijuana possession. Nebraska has not legalized recreational marijuana. It is listed as a Schedule I controlled substance under the Uniform Controlled Substances Act. While marijuana possession is treated differently than many other controlled substances in Nebraska, the state has decriminalized possession of a small amount, less than 1 ounce for personal use. It can still result in criminal penalties, fines, and a record. Marijuana possession cases in Omaha may involve larger quantities, THC concentrates, edibles, vape cartridges, or allegations that the marijuana was intended for distribution. Even when a marijuana charge seems minor, it is worth taking seriously. "It's just weed" is not a legal defense, even if it is a very common sentence. Methamphetamine possession. Methamphetamine possession is one of the most aggressively prosecuted drug offenses in Nebraska. Even a small amount can expose a person to felony consequences, particularly if there are prior convictions or other aggravating circumstances. These cases often involve searches of vehicles, homes, hotel rooms, or personal belongings. They may also involve informants, surveillance, or investigations by narcotics officers. Fentanyl possession. Fentanyl cases receive significant attention from law enforcement and prosecutors because of the substance's potency and its connection to overdose deaths nationwide. Agencies such as the DEA and CDC continue to identify fentanyl as a major public safety concern. Because of that attention, fentanyl possession charges in Omaha may be handled more aggressively than other drug cases. Cocaine possession. Cocaine possession charges in Omaha can carry serious penalties depending on the quantity involved and whether prosecutors allege possession for personal use or possession with intent to distribute. These cases often turn on the details: where the cocaine was found, whether others had access to the area, whether police had probable cause to search, and whether the accused knowingly possessed the substance. Heroin possession. Heroin possession remains a serious criminal charge in Nebraska. Prosecutors may pursue these cases aggressively, particularly when they involve alleged distribution, overdose-related investigations, or other controlled substances. Prescription drug possession. Not every Omaha drug possession case involves street drugs. Many cases involve prescription medications that are legal only when possessed with a valid prescription, including Adderall, Xanax, oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine, other controlled prescription medications. Prescription drug charges may arise from allegations of unauthorized possession, expired prescriptions, sharing medication, forged prescriptions, or obtaining controlled substances through improper means. Opioid possession. Opioid possession charges are increasingly common in Omaha and other areas of Nebraska. These cases may involve both illegal opioids and prescription pain medications that are possessed without a valid prescription or outside the scope of lawful use. Because opioid-related offenses receive significant attention from law enforcement agencies and prosecutors, these cases are often pursued aggressively. Investigations may stem from traffic stops, searches, overdose incidents, prescription monitoring programs, or information provided by confidential informants. However, prosecutors still have to prove possession beyond a reasonable doubt. In many Omaha opioid possession cases, important questions arise regarding who actually possessed the substance, whether the accused knew it was present, whether a valid prescription existed, and whether law enforcement obtained the evidence legally. Just because opioids were discovered in a vehicle, residence, or shared space does not automatically mean prosecutors can prove they belonged to a specific person. As with other drug possession charges in Omaha, the details matter, and those details often create opportunities for a strong defense. Drug possession resources in Omaha, Nebraska. The Legal Information Institute's Search and Seizure Law Overview. This resource explains the legal principles governing searches, warrants, probable cause, consent searches, and the exclusion of unlawfully obtained evidence. Many drug possession cases in Omaha rise or fall based on whether law enforcement followed constitutional requirements when gathering evidence. National Institute on Drug Abuse, also known as NIDA, part of the National Institutes of Health, NIDA conducts research on drug use, addiction, treatment, and public health trends. The organization provides extensive information regarding commonly abused substances, opioid-related issues, and the science behind addiction and recovery. Nebraska Drug Possession Laws Online Database, the Nebraska Legislature's online version of the state's primary controlled substances statute. This law outlines many Nebraska drug offenses, including possession, distribution, manufacturing, and related crimes, along with the classifications and penalties that may apply. Law Enforcement Action Partnership, also known as LEAP, a national nonprofit organization composed primarily of current and former law enforcement professionals, prosecutors, judges, and other criminal justice experts. LEAP advocates for evidence-based criminal justice and drug policy reforms while providing educational resources on public safety, community relations, and the impact of drug laws throughout the United States. Actual possession versus constructive possession in Omaha drug cases. One of the most important issues in an Omaha drug possession case is whether prosecutors can prove possession at all. There are generally two concepts involved. Actual possession. Actual possession means the drugs were allegedly found on your person, such as in your pocket, hand, purse, backpack, or clothing. The prosecution must prove that the drugs were on you and that you knew they were there. Constructive possession. Constructive possession is more complicated. It means prosecutors claim you had knowledge of and control over drugs, even though they were not found directly on you. For example, drugs may be found in a vehicle with multiple occupants, a shared apartment, a hotel room, a borrowed car, a backpack or bag belonging to someone else, a common area accessible to several people. Constructive possession cases can be highly defensible because proximity alone is not always enough. Being near drugs does not automatically mean they are yours. That may sound obvious. Unfortunately, obvious facts still sometimes need to be explained to prosecutors. Here is an overview of some common drug possession offenses in Nebraska. Drug possession offense. Possession of a controlled substance. Nebraska. Classification: Class 4 felony. Potential penalties: up to 2 years imprisonment, 12 months post-release supervision, and/or a $10,000 fine. What to know applies to knowingly or intentionally possessing a controlled substance other than marijuana unless legally authorized. Drug possession. Offense: possession of marijuana. 1 ounce or less, first offense. Nebraska. Classification: infraction or civil-style offense. Potential penalties: fine of up to $300 and possible drug education course. What to know? Small amount marijuana possession is treated differently than many other controlled substances. Drug possession. Offense: possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, second offense. Nebraska. Classification: Class 4 misdemeanor. Potential penalties: fine of up to $500 and possible drug education course. What to know? Penalties increase for repeat marijuana possession offenses. Drug possession offense: possession of marijuana, 1 ounce or less, third or subsequent offense. Nebraska. Classification: Class 3A misdemeanor. Potential penalties: up to 7 days in jail and / or a $500 fine. What to know? Repeat offenses can result in jail exposure even for small amounts. Drug possession offense: possession of marijuana, more than 1 ounce, but not more than 1 pound. Nebraska. Classification: Class 3 misdemeanor. Potential penalties: up to 3 months in jail and / or a $500 fine. What to know? The severity of a marijuana possession charge depends heavily on the amount involved. Drug possession. Offense: possession of marijuana, more than 1 pound. Nebraska. Classification: Class 4 felony. Potential penalties: up to 2 years imprisonment, 12 months post-release supervision, and/or a $10,000 fine. What to know? Larger marijuana possession amounts may result in felony charges. Drug possession offense: possession of THC, concentrates or certain marijuana-derived substances. Nebraska. Classification. May be charged as a controlled substance offense. Potential penalties. Penalties depend on the substance, amount, and applicable statutory classification. What to know? Vape cartridges, oils, edibles, or concentrates may be treated differently than plant-form marijuana. Drug possession. Offense: possession of prescription medication without a valid prescription. Nebraska classification. Often Class 4 felony, depending on the substance. Potential penalties: up to 2 years imprisonment, 12 months post-release supervision, and/or a $10,000 fine. What to know? Applies to controlled prescription drugs possessed without lawful authorization. Note, this is only meant to be a general overview. Nebraska drug possession penalties can vary based on the substance, amount, prior record, alleged intent, and whether prosecutors pursue enhanced charges. Why the search matters in Omaha drug possession cases. Many Omaha drug possession cases begin with a search, a traffic stop, a pat-down, a backpack search, a vehicle search, a home search, a search warrant, a probation search, a phone search. That means one of the most important questions the Miltenberger Law drug possession defense attorneys ask is often, did law enforcement have the legal right to find the evidence in the first place? The Fourth Amendment protects individuals against unreasonable searches and seizures. Police officers cannot simply search wherever they want because they have a hunch. An Omaha drug possession lawyer may evaluate whether the traffic stop was lawful, police had probable cause, the search exceeded legal limits, a warrant was valid, the warrant was properly executed, you voluntarily consented to the search, any statements were obtained unlawfully, evidence should be suppressed. If the evidence was obtained illegally, the court may exclude it from the case. And without the evidence, the government may have a much harder time proving anything. Funny how that works. Common defenses to drug possession charges in Omaha. Every Omaha drug possession case is different. The right defense depends on the facts, the evidence, and how law enforcement handled the investigation. Common defenses may include illegal search and seizure. If officers violated your constitutional rights during a stop, search, detention, or arrest, evidence may be challenged and potentially suppressed. Lack of knowledge. Prosecutors generally must prove that you knew the drugs were present. If drugs were found in a shared space, borrowed vehicle, or area accessible to others, knowledge may be difficult to prove. Lack of possession. The government must connect the alleged drugs to you. Simply being in the same room, car, or general area as a controlled substance does not automatically establish possession. Problems with lab testing. The prosecution must prove the substance was actually an illegal controlled substance. Testing errors, contamination, chain of custody issues, or incomplete documentation may create defense opportunities. Unreliable witnesses or informants. Some Nebraska drug cases involve informants, cooperating witnesses, or co-defendants who may have their own reasons for pointing fingers. Their credibility should not be accepted blindly. Insufficient evidence. The burden rests entirely on the government. You do not have to prove your innocence. Prosecutors must prove every element of the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a high standard. It is supposed to be. What to do after a drug possession arrest in Omaha? If you have been arrested or charged with drug possession in Omaha, what you do next matters. Our drug possession defense attorneys suggest you follow these steps. Step 1. Use your right to remain silent. Do not try to explain your way out of the situation. Law enforcement officers are trained to gather evidence, and even innocent statements can be taken out of context later. Politely state that you want to remain silent and speak with an attorney. Step 2. Do not consent to searches. If officers ask to search your car, home, phone, bag, or personal property, you generally have the right to refuse consent. If they have a valid warrant or another lawful basis, they may proceed anyway. But there is usually no benefit to voluntarily expanding the investigation. Step 3. Preserve evidence. Save anything that may be relevant to your defense, including text messages, call logs, photos, videos, receipts, GPS or location data, social media communications, witness contact information. Do not delete anything. Context matters, and your attorney needs the full picture. Step 4. Stay off social media. Do not post about your case. Not vaguely, not sarcastically, not just to clear things up. Prosecutors can use social media posts, screenshots, comments, and messages as evidence. If you would not want it read aloud in court, do not post it. Step 5. Contact an Omaha drug possession lawyer immediately. The sooner a drug possession defense attorney becomes involved, the sooner steps can be taken to protect your rights, preserve evidence, and challenge the government's case. In some situations, early legal intervention may make a major difference before formal charges are filed. How Miltenberger Law can help in Omaha, across Nebraska. Drug possession cases are often more complex than they appear. The police report may tell one version of the story, but it is rarely the whole story. At Miltenberger Law, we examine every detail of the case, including why police stopped or contacted you, whether the search was lawful, where the substance was found, who had access to the area, whether the government can prove knowledge and possession, whether the substance was properly tested, whether evidence was handled correctly, whether your rights were violated. We do not assume the government got it right. We make them prove it. Our goal is to protect your record, your freedom, and your future, while helping you understand your options at every stage of the process. Frequently asked questions about drug possession charges in Omaha. Can I be charged with drug possession in Omaha if the drugs weren't actually mine? Answer: yes. Prosecutors may still file charges if they believe you had knowledge of and control over the substance. However, simply being near drugs does not automatically establish possession. Many Omaha drug possession cases involve disputes over who actually owned or controlled the alleged drugs. What happens if drugs were found in a vehicle with multiple people inside? Answer: these situations are often more complicated than they appear. Prosecutors must prove more than the fact that you were present in the vehicle. They generally must establish that you knowingly possessed or exercised control over the substance. When multiple occupants are involved, that can become a significant issue. Can drug possession charges in Omaha be dismissed? Answer: sometimes. Depending on the circumstances, charges may be reduced, dismissed, or successfully challenged. Factors such as unlawful searches, insufficient evidence, testing issues, witness credibility problems, or constitutional violations can all affect the outcome of a case. Will I go to jail for a drug possession charge in Nebraska? Answer: it depends on the type of substance involved, the quantity, your criminal history, and the specific facts of the case. Some offenses may result in probation or alternative resolutions, while others carry the possibility of significant jail or prison time. What if the drugs belong to someone else? Answer: that may be an important defense. Prosecutors must prove that you knowingly possess the substance. If the drugs belong to another person or were located in a shared space, questions regarding ownership, access, and control often become central issues in the case. Can police search my car during a traffic stop in Omaha? Answer: not automatically. Whether a search was lawful depends on numerous factors, including consent, probable cause, warrants, and other exceptions recognized under the law. The legality of a vehicle search is frequently one of the most important issues in an Omaha drug possession case. What if I consented to the search in Omaha? Answer: consenting to a search can affect certain legal challenges, but it does not necessarily end the analysis. Courts may still examine whether consent was voluntary, whether officers exceeded the scope of the consent, and whether other constitutional issues are present. Can prescription medications lead to drug possession charges in Omaha? Answer: yes. Possessing certain prescription medications without lawful authorization may result in criminal charges. Common cases involve medications such as Adderall, Xanax, oxycodone, hydrocodone, and other controlled substances. Should I talk to the police if I'm being investigated for drug possession? Answer: generally, it is wise to speak with an attorney in Omaha before answering questions about a criminal investigation. Many people unintentionally provide information that prosecutors later attempt to use against them. Exercising your right to remain silent is a constitutional protection, not an admission of guilt. When should I contact an Omaha drug possession lawyer? Answer: as soon as possible. Early involvement by an Omaha defense attorney may help preserve evidence, identify constitutional issues, communicate with investigators, and begin building a defense strategy before the case progresses further. Talk to a Miltenberger Law Omaha drug possession lawyer today. If you are facing drug possession charges in Omaha, Douglas County, or anywhere in Nebraska, do not wait to get legal help. A conviction can affect your freedom, employment, housing, education, professional licensing, and reputation. But an accusation is not the same thing as a conviction, and you may have more defense options than you realize. Call 402-2172-267 or contact Miltenberger Law Offices online today to schedule a confidential consultation with an experienced Omaha drug possession defense attorney. Because one drug possession charge should not define the rest of your life. Miltenberger Law Offices is a leading criminal defense law firm serving the entire state of Nebraska. We are headquartered in Omaha and serve Douglas County, Lancaster County, Lincoln, Sarpy County, and all of Nebraska. We look forward to helping you with your criminal defense attorney needs.